All right, today you get to see my messy room. There it is. Hey, look at that guy behind me. Anyway, I thought I'd do something kind of neat today. I'm going to do a demo, of this thing. Let me wipe it off. You see it? There it is. This is a, who made this? Let's see. Does it say? Oh, this is a Bob Reeves Hollywood trumpet Flugelhorn converter. So what this does is, in my Schilke B6, I'm going to use my Schilke stuff just for greater comparison, but you just drop that thing, bloop, right in there, and that allows you to take a Flugelhorn mouthpiece and use it in your trumpet. Ooh, kind of cool. Why would you ever want to do that? Well, I don't know, but perhaps you don't have a Flugelhorn, and perhaps you don't want to bring a Flugelhorn to a gig, and you want to kind of pull everything off with just a trumpet. Let's see if it actually works, right? I don't know. I have a Flugelhorn, and I'm a Flugelhorn player, so I'm actually the reverse. I would probably not bring a trumpet. But in case you ever need to do this, I thought this was kind of cool because I think it actually sounds really good. But I always think that, especially with mouthpieces as well, it's really good to do a comparison, literally side by side, play the same exact thing with both instruments using the same stuff and see what it really sounds like when you have one next to the other. So we'll start with the Schilke. This is a Schilke, I don't know if you see that, a B6. I've had this for a while. I do have kind of a heavy cap on the one end, but other than that, it's a stock B6. And I think it's a good matchup, which is the reason I bought it, to my 1040 Flugel, because this one has the red brass bell underneath here, the copper bell. Ready? Let me play just a typical line. And this is with a Flugelhorn mouthpiece and the Bob Reeves adapter. All right, cool. Now let's jam that thing in our Flugelhorn. See what we get. And here's my Flugel. Love this bad boy. Whoo, this is quite the horn. Love this thing so much. Anyway, ready? Comparison. So I don't know how well that translates over the phone, but I can tell you for sure that I think the raspiness and the general tone is the same, but the Flugelhorn just has more bass and width. It's, it's got a way bigger bell, right? The canonical wrap of this is way different, right? I mean, look at these two. It's not even close, right? I mean, if you try to put them together, it's hard to see, right? I can't tip the phone, but I mean, obviously the Flugel bell is closer to 7, and a standard Schilke is like under 5 probably in diameter. And then of course you've got the canonicalness of it really makes a difference. Now let me do this though. Let me play. So this is a weird mouthpiece that I use this for recording. I've mentioned this in a lot of the comments, but this is the Sound Fresh Sound Freak mouthpiece. Very strange, right? That's a weird looking bad boy. And look at that. Can you see on the inside? It's flat. So it's a V shape, just like the outside would lead you to believe. But the inside of it, see that second rim down there? It's totally flat. And that's really something. Now I can make an instrument sound airy, but you'll notice as soon as I put this Wick in, it's not going to sound anywhere near as raspy as this bad boy. So if you're looking for something that really will give you that out of the box, raspy kind of jazz sound that I really dig it, this is a great mouthpiece. These aren't really cheap. I got this at Thomann. I buy a lot of cool European stuff from Thomann. They do a good job shipping to the US. It's gone up in recent times, but you can still get these. I have a couple of these, and I even have them for the trumpet too. But anyway, let me play a traditional Flugelhorn mouthpiece. This is a Dennis Wick 4FL. So this is their real You can see that's a real deep, you see in there? Woo! Deep, deep, deep. So let me play that same thing on the B6 with this mouthpiece, because this is probably something more in line with what you might have available to you. Ready? I'll play the same thing, and this is with the Dennis Wick 4FL. All right, now we put that in the flugel. I'll make a comment on that after I do the comparison so there's not too much gap. Ready? 1040, Dennis Wick 4FL. See, boys and girls, we all mess up. Anyway, so now it is a little difficult, at least for me, to switch that quickly between two instruments. So, you know, I'm flubbing notes here and there. But again, it's I don't know, I thought that one was more similar. But still, you just get a little bit more bass out of the flugel natively, because it's the right mouthpiece, as well as a little more of that mellow tone. But I'll tell you what, I mean, and I should do this. Let me pick a Dennis Wick. What is this? This is a Dennis Wick Ultra 5C. Let's try that. Now, I know I'm kind of getting away from this, but just so you can hear, there's so much difference these mouthpieces make. Ready? Here's the same thing with a regular trumpet mouthpiece. Quick, let me put this back in while you're fresh with that one. Wow. That is so mellow, right? So yeah, I do apologize. I mean, that sounds terrible to some degree because I'm switching, you know, from a super deep mouthpiece that's for flugelhorn with an adapter to a regular shallow. 5C is pretty shallow, pretty standard, but they're not even really the same size. I mean, if you look at these two together, it's like, it's like, where does that thing at? Oh, there's the end. Anyway, this Bob Reeves thing is pretty cool, man. I don't know, I can't remember how much this was, but maybe like 30 or 40 bucks. Something like that, maybe less. I don't know, maybe more. I don't remember. But they're not expensive. And it's really cool because when you have an arsenal like I do of hundreds of mouthpieces across trumpet and flugelhorn, this is a really nice way to not have to worry about either, right? You just use the same mouthpiece in both instruments. Now, again, I like to play things that are very mellow. That's just my style. So what I'm trying to do is, I don't know, you could argue a lot for, well, just use a trumpet if it's a trumpet part. But again, I'd say the real value of this is if you don't have a flugel and you're kind of looking for a really mellow sound. Now, let me also do this. There are some companies like Pudgy. Here's a Pudgy. Man, Brent does some really cool stuff. And Austin Custom Brass make these trumpet as flugelhorn type mouthpieces. I have a couple Currys as well, but let me give you an idea of what these sound like. I'll throw these in there and we'll do a quick comparison with the Dennis Wick. Now, these are actually, yeah, these are pretty comparable in terms of cup depth. So let me play, this is the Austin Custom Brass. I like to play note runs. I know that's like, why are you doing that? That's not like mellow at all. But you can hear the like when you're jamming and running through notes, you can really hear the difference, I think, from the notes when you run through stuff like that. So that was the Austin Custom Brass. This is the Pudgy. This is really the mouthpiece I play most often on all trumpets. So right off the bat, you can hear that this one from Austin Custom Brass is way more mellow. Let's do that again. Even between the two. That's pretty right. Let me listen to the Pudgy now. Now let's put the adapter with the Dennis Wick in there. So, I mean, it has it's probably hard to hear on this stupid phone. I should probably record these things with a better quality mic, but, you know, whatever. What I will say is most mellow, which means this thing is going to flatten out big time when I go up high, but I don't really go that high on trumpet anyway. But most mellow is the ACV. And then this has a very unique characteristic. This sound is cool. The Pudgy Deep V65 is what this is. Very cool. I love these. I got a couple of these too. And then the Wick in the Bob Reeves adapter is really cool. I mean, it's got its own sound. I would argue that these all three sound the same, but none of them really sound like a flugelhorn. So just go buy a flugelhorn. I'm kidding. In any event, I mean, we're looking at like, I don't know, $150, $150 for this bad boy from Pudgy. Like, yeah, about $125, $150 for Austin Custom Brass custom mouthpieces like this. This gold Wick, so this is probably more, but a regular 4FL Dennis Wick in silver is like $50. And then another 25 to 30, I don't know, for the Bob Reeves, the adapter. So, I mean, by far, your most affordable option is this. Use a regular flugelhorn mouthpiece in an adapter in your trumpet. Now, you know, if you can afford to go buy a flugelhorn and another mouthpiece, that's cool. But this is really nice because it allows you to use the same thing across both if you have both. Or you can turn your trumpet into a flugelhorn. So anyway, I know I'm kind of over talking about something very simple, but I think it's really neat that you can take a regular trumpet, and I've said this before, and I'm sure many of you know this, the mouthpiece is so significant. And the other thing that's really significant is you. So you might, you know, and look, I've done this too. I've bought so many mouthpieces off of listening to some player play it and go, oh, I really like the sound of that. It's all different. The equipment is the equipment, right? Two different people or 5 different people can have this exact trumpet and sit here and play with you and put the exact same mouthpiece in and sound totally different. So don't stress too much about that. It really is, for me, in the end, the sound that I get that I like, that my ears hear, that maybe your ears hear something different. What I'm actually doing, which is why I play this thing almost exclusively, because when I'm doing lo-fi hip-hop or jazz hop or whatever the heck it is I do, it needs to cut through the mix. And a big fat mellow flugelhorn by itself, it just gets lost. I end up EQing the thing out. So if I can go in with the right sound to begin with, I don't know that I actually even like the sound of this thing by itself, but it really sounds awesome in these mellow lo-fi tunes that I write. So that's the mouthpiece that I use. I guess it's really, like I said, it's down to the person and the player and your mouth and your embouchure, your lips, what you're trying to do. I'm a really mellow player. I have horns that are totally inappropriate for what I'm doing. The most appropriate thing I have is a flugelhorn. And in reality, I play, let me show you what I play for every recording, as we're talking about recordings. I play a really old French Couesnon flugelhorn that I got from Jay Landris Brass in New York City. And this used to be owned, and I've said this before, by Alan Rubin. Can you see that? It's hard to see that. There it is. Couesnon. I don't even think this is a star version. It just says Couesnon Paris, made in France. And it was made in 1971, so it is 51 years old. Well, I guess depends on when it was made. But yeah, this is really cool. Look what they did. They scratched it up. And here, look, let me show you. Apparently, I'm quite the collector. I know this video is terrible, but hang on. I picked up, I'm reaching behind me. I picked up this, and I'm actually probably going to sell this and some other horns. So hit me up if you're looking for one of my horns. This is actually a really neat horn. I don't know what year this is from, but this is, in fact, a Couesnon French trumpet. And it's got some issues, no doubt. But look at this bad boy. Anyway, what I was trying to show you was the Flugelhorn had this. And honestly, aesthetically, I don't really like that. This is cool, though. See how it has the finger ring down at the bottom? That's kind of neat, right? Oh, it's the mouthpiece. I'm like, what is rattling? Anyway, yeah. Look, so I guess you put your pinky or something else down there. It didn't have a finger ring up here, but it's, I guess this is just for a lyre, right? I mean, if you got the ring down here, what is that for? I don't know. I guess for the lyre, but you know, that's always weird. Anyway, listen to this is a pretty nice horn. The compression's pretty minimal, but look at the dinky bell on this thing. I mean, even compared to this, the Schilke, it's tiny. So the bell on this bad boy is puny, right? A little bitty guy. What do you hear what it sounds like? Let's play for a minute. Damn, listen to that. I haven't played this thing in a while. That's crazy. And this is on that's just a 5C, a Bach 5C. Wow, that was real raspy and kind of like Louis Armstrong-y to me. It had that real like 20s kind of sound. But anyway, the whole point of this, you can tell I'm a scatterbrain, was that used to be what was on this. Oh, I'm trying to put all these down. So, and it was up further. So it was actually like this, and I got huge, big, fat hands. I got a big hand, right? I mean, I'm a big dude. But it was like here. So playing this thing was already kind of weird because, like I've told you before, my thumb doesn't fit in there. So it's weird, or you got to wrap it around. And then this thing was this ring was way out here. So I had him we traded. I gave him my ring. He gave me this ring and put this ring on. But it's closer for me, so it's more, because, I don't know, just the way they made this, like they left this whole block just like a trumpet. Like, look at the Schilke. Now we're getting into crazy stuff, right? But look at the Schilke. Like, this is completely parallel, or perpendicular to the valve. This one is on an angle. See that? So on this one, your finger fits in there very nicely. There's tons of room in there. On this bad boy, it doesn't. Like, you'd have to have a skinny finger or skinny thumb. There's nowhere to put it. So it already kind of pushes your, see my thumb? It's like, it's got to be cocked to be in there. So that kind of moves your hand position this way. I mean, I'm only sharing this stuff because how the hell would you know this until you own one of these things? And this wasn't cheap. And I don't mean that it should have been. It's, this is a couple $1,000 for one of these bad boys. And, I had it completely redone. Like, I love a brushed, scratched finish. Man, Jay Landris, they do such good work there. This is just, anyway, my point was I had this change, but this is the Flugelhorn with this mouthpiece that you hear on 99% of anything you listen to that I record. It's this great sound. So let's play that for a second, right? Can you hear the valves? There's springs, they're bottom sprung, so they're just sitting in there. I can hear them ringing. I don't know if you can hear them It's kind of noisy, this horn. I mean, it's pretty old too, but it's bottom sprung, so it gives the valves an interesting or a different kind of feel. Now, I had a Yamaha 731 that was bottom sprung too, and it was a little, I don't know, it had different springs, I guess. But these are all brand new. I mean, I just play it better, right? So even though my heart's in love with that Schilke, this when it comes time, and I guess I should say this, and this is probably true of all like real musicians, and I'm not assuming you are or are not, but I don't consider myself a real musician because I don't do it full time for a living. I do other things. But in any event, what I mean by that is, I'm into guitar and stuff too. So every time I hear somebody talk about guitar, like somebody that's on tour, a real musician, and they talk about what they use and why they use it, it's all very specifically oriented to what works for real for them, right? Rather than what looks cool or what you might think you'd want to buy. That's what this horn is. This is a functional performer. And it's funny because I'm sure that's why Alan had it too, right? Because he was a pro player. That was a real trumpet player. That's what that guy did for a living. So that's one of the reasons I bought it. Number two, I just wanted something cool from him from a collectible standpoint, and I wanted a Couesnon for a long time, and when that came up, I just snagged it immediately. But very cool. But yeah, this is a working man's horn for real, and now it is for me too, because this thing, no matter how many times I pick up other instruments, this thing always just, I don't know, for whatever reason, it just plays better for me. This is a great horn for me, even aside from like, I wish I could get this fixed or this stupid thing was out of the way. But other than that, this horn, it's just that go-to. You always hear people talk about that. It's like, well, when it really comes down to recording and I need it to be in tune and be right and sound good and just have that, this is that one, man. So I don't know, Couesnons are pretty awesome. And, honestly, for $2,000, this is pretty affordable. Compared to, that Schilke is almost $3,400 new. Like an Adams A3, is it an A3? Yeah, whatever their F3, whatever their third version flugel, that beautiful horn, those are over $3,000. So, this is kind of a deal. And it's, well broken in. And again, one of the beautiful things about these types of instruments is that they are really well made and they can last 50, 100 years. This thing plays perfect. Love it, love it, love it. Now, on that note, let's continue looking at every friggin' horn I have, right? Give me a sec. I also have this stencil by Blessing and Getson that I also had Jay Landris do a number on. Oh, I love this flugel. This is such a neat flugel, and it's got the non, it's got the horizontal, not the vertical valve, so it's more trumpety. I love this flugel too, and it's got a real fat, buttery sound to it. Look, we're totally off topic, so who cares at this point, right? And I haven't done a video in a while, but let me play this. The only downside is this sucker is wicked out of tune. So I'm gonna play, and you're gonna hear it. And bear with me, because it can play in tune. You just got to get used to it so you can kind of use your embouchure to get it there. But this is with a 7F. And strange enough, this has a really, really old, I would imagine this is a European receiver, because it's super skinny and it's apparently stuck in there now. So let's check this one out. Ready? lot of hair. Anyway, this is a really cool horn too. It's more of kind of like a decorator piece for me. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe it was informational. Maybe it was just a waste of 25 minutes of your life. In any event, have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.